Yo, yo, yo. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another podcast. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the love and support on the pod. It's meant a lot to me, especially because I've been talking a lot about like mental health and stuff like that. But in today's episode, I want to talk about the benefits of gym workouts over home workouts and how and why going to the gym is the best thing that you can do for your life. When it comes down to it, like going to the gym has to be, and having a gym membership has to be one of the best things that you can possibly do for your life and do for yourself if you're someone who wants to improve your life. Not only does it get you outside of your box, but it motivates you, it adds to your life. Setting aside some money for the gym has to be like one of the best life moves that you can make for yourself, only because of the environment that you have access to. When I was young and I was skinny and I was insecure and I was depressed, going to the gym was one of the best experiences of my life. I remember walking into the gym. Well, actually, I remember first wanting a gym membership and talking to my parents about this, and my dad came with me to get a gym membership. And I remember walking in and, the hospitality and the environment really set the tone for me. I remember I went to Good Life Fitness and I got a book from them, and, that was nice. But, I was a kid at the time, and signing up for the gym was, motivating for me. Going inside of the gym, seeing all the equipment that I had access to, seeing a lot of people working on their health and their fitness motivated me. And, having a place to go that like was just for me kind of thing, it was just a lot different because before that, I was just working out in my dad's basement, my dad and my mom's basement. And, that only took me so far. So I want to break it down for you guys in a simple and effective way. When you go to the gym, you have access to advanced equipment. Gyms provide a variety of different machines, free weights, all this stuff, which you guys know, right? But a lot of this stuff you can't really have at home unless you got the money for it, and it's expensive. Like, I'm talking really expensive, especially if you want good equipment. And best believe that when you're investing in gym equipment, you want to make sure that you invest in good equipment that makes sense. You can't be investing in dingy old equipment or dingy equipment that's just like super cheap because it doesn't work well. And I think that's also another really good point to take away from the topic of this video is that like when you're getting a gym membership, or even if you're investing in at-home equipment, what you invest in matters. And how much you invest in also matters too, because you get back what it's worth. If you're investing in cheap equipment, you're going to get cheap results. If you're investing in good equipment, it only makes it easier going to the gym because in the long run, it's a lot easier. You get more benefit from it mentally. And I just prefer it much more than at-home workouts. You get what you put in. And it's just like fitness. You get what you put in. And so another aspect is the environment. It's so different working out at home than it is at the gym. You get to see people, you get to talk to people, you get to meet new friends. It's honestly been one of the biggest additions in my life that has helped me grow as a person. Like I have truly, and I really give it to going to the gym, but it's truly helped me like find myself. Because when you're working out in a gym facility, like you meet so many different kinds of people. Some of them are introverts, some of them are extroverts, so on and so forth, but you kind of start to see kind of where you fit in. For example, I remember going to the gym for the first year. I didn't talk to anybody. I literally just would walk in and keep my headphones on, not talk to anybody, not talk to a soul, and then get out. And then after a while, I kept seeing the same people, and I was like, why not just start saying hi? Like, how's it going? And I started to talk to people. I started to make connections. You know, when you have those good conversations with people that are just wholesome and like fun and random, but they ignite your day. I would have those kinds of conversations at the gym all the time. But you don't get that when you train at home. Training at home is awesome. It's fun because it's like your own space. You're alone. You get to blast music. And I did that for years. And I know people who have been doing that for years. But it's just a little different going to the gym. It's inspiring. When you're feeling low, you see others push their limits and it motivates you to push even harder. Way different than when you're alone at home. A lot of the time when you're at home, a good saying that I heard from someone is that, like, why would you ever work out at home? At home is where you're the most lazy. And it's true. So it's nice when you can separate that part of your life and have one specific place for it that is actually motivational. When it comes to progress, again, it comes back to what you invest in. If you have an at-home gym, like, if you're talking about bare bone, like, what are the basic things that I need to, to have a gym that's like worth it? Number one, I'd say a squat rack with probably at least, 300 plus pounds that you can load onto the bar. Dumbbells, even if they're adjustable, that go up to probably at least 50 pounds. If you can, you don't need it, but a cable machine. And then, with all that, you're already looking at probably like 10 G's. So it's expensive. But when you go to the gym, you just have all that there. And the monthly subscription that you pay or the bi-weekly that you pay for it, much more worth it than spending all that money on an at-home gym. I just think it's financially smarter, if that makes sense, because then you can put that money, that larger lump sum, into other things. Sure, it's easier, right? Especially if you're busier. And if you have the money for it, then do it. But to be honest with you, like, I'm busy. I can make time to go to the gym, and I always will make time for it because it's a priority to me. And I understand the pros and the cons, and, being able to get out and have that space is much more worth it to me than working out at home, because I just benefit from it a lot mentally. Don't get me wrong though, at-home workouts do slap, but I do enjoy the gym workouts. And when you want results, you got to progress. Like, I don't know, I see people question why they're not getting results a lot. And every single time I assess them, it's simply because they're not progressing in their workouts. They're not pushing their levels of fitness, which is the main part about transformation. In order to get to the next level, you need to get to the next level. Like, there's no other way. You need to learn how to progress with your weight training, what your cardio should look like, what recovery should look like. So then that way you know what the next step is. And then it's about going one above that, always, to solidify the progress that you've already built. Basically just getting yourself accustomed to new norms of uncomfortableness. And if you don't do that, then you're never going to progress your fitness. But it's a lot of fun because it makes it like a game when there's these levels that you constantly have to chip away at, but you actually get the result back because you visually see it. And let me tell you something, if you're not visually seeing progress, you're not progressing, because your physique should change. It should be a match of that. And every single time I see someone not progress with their fitness, with their physique, it's simply because one of the big things is that they're not progressing their fitness. Now, when it comes down to understanding how to go about working out in the gym, I mean, and even if you have an at-home gym that's actually decent, it's important to know what to do. Reach out, get help from me as your coach, or hire me as your coach, or get a coach, or do some research online. But if you want to cut all the time that it takes to do that, then get some help from someone for the next little while. Learn how to do it. Like, that's what everybody needs to do to get to the next level in any aspect of their life, whether it's with work or whether it's with, studying for school or whether it's with fitness. You have to learn. You only know what you know. You know what I mean? And so if you want to get to the next level with your fitness, you have to get the help. You have to know what the next step would be. But oftentimes you don't know even what that looks like when you're just getting into the gym. And so if you just have that, you have a plan, you know exactly what to do, well, then guess what? It gets rid of all that fear and anxiety. So then that way you can just go in and you know where to start. That's a really, really big thing. You have to have a game plan. And I'm talking about not just a basic cookie cutter workout routine. Like, if you want expert help, that's exactly what I help people with. Like, for example, with my clients who are newbies who just get into the gym, and I have a lot of these clients. These are like the main clients I help that I'm like an expert with helping. It's getting them into the gym, but they're super uncomfortable, but they want to do it. So what I do is I create a plan that completely encompasses what they need to work towards, but also where they need to start, as in how heavy they need to train, how hard they should train, exactly what exercises to do and why they're doing them and how to do them, assessing their form weekly, checking in with them weekly, making sure that their nutrition is good, so then that aspect of side is good. But think about it, if you're someone who struggles going to the gym, doesn't know what to do, but like, if you just literally automatically, let's just say you hire help or you get help and maybe you do your own research, whatever route you take, but you just in general, if you know exactly what to do, the exercises you're learning, you're trying, you're applying, you're seeing that progression weekly, like, you're only going to get more comfortable with it, especially right off the get-go, because you already have the idea of what to do. So instead of walking up to a squat rack and not knowing what to do, it's like, oh, I actually know in general kind of what to do here. Like, this is going to make it way easier. Much better to start off like that with, compared to not knowing anything about it. And when you're at home, I mean, there's a lot of distractions, like kids, family, friends, if you live with roommates, like whatever it may be. But like, when you go to the gym, especially if you're going with like a gym buddy or something too, it just allows me to minimize the distractions because you have one place to focus and that's it. It's kind of like, for example, like what I do for work. Like when I work, I have an office. I have an office because if I just work from anywhere, guess what? I would be extremely distracted. And I like to promote productivity. I like to be as productive as I possibly can be because that's how I will be the most successful with my goals. If I was super distracted and I worked in a little corner or I kept going to coffee shops or whatever it may be, or if I didn't have just a select space to sit down and focus work every single day, that's like repetitive, but it allows me to get into the zone. Like, then obviously I would be distracted. Now the same goes with your workouts. If you're in a place that can make you distracted, it's not like a nice space, so on and so forth. It makes it so much harder to get into it. And so honestly, just like break the barrier already, get a gym membership, or if you have the money, invest in at-home equipment, or if you need to save up a little bit, do it, but like start working towards this goal however you need. So why do some people lean towards home workouts? And where they work best? I kind of already went over this. I wrote down some points from this podcast. But home workouts are great for beginners, busy parents, those easing back into fitness. But think about it like this. Why would you ever need to ease back into fitness if you're just doing it right from the get-go? I like the quote, do it right once, so then that way you don't have to do it again. And when it comes to fitness, like, it's not something that has to be up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It can just be something that is. But you need to you need to figure out what that looks like for you. And it's not rocket science, let me tell you that. It doesn't have to do with your astrological signs. It doesn't have to do with, what's going on in your life. You do have to remove your emotions from it because it's very strategic, but it also it's not complicated. Like, you just need to make sure it matches with your schedule. You have the right routine. It matches with the time that you can go into the gym. You're not doing too much to stress yourself out, and you know what to do when you go in there. Everything I just previously talked about. Home workouts are great though, because it's low barrier to entry. Like, you can just do them at home. But let me tell you something, at home HIIT workouts ain't going to cut it when it comes to being successful with your fat loss goals. You got to get uncomfortable here and get yourself out. If you can't be in a public room where other people are working out, and, you have a goal to accomplish, your weight loss goals, I'm just telling you right now, like, it's way less comfortable being in a public space where other people are working out and working on themselves in a motivational way. And in a healthy way, versus the actual process that it takes to lose weight and keep it off for good. Does that make sense? It's harder to lose weight and keep it off for good than it is to do that. So if you want to be successful with your goals, start accomplishing the many things that help you build more confidence in your life, that help you just like add to your life. And a lot of those things are all those many things are harder than the actual goal, right? So if you can just get started by checking off those many tasks, getting the gym membership, getting the health, learning more about your nutrition, whatever it may be, just starting to do those, it will help. But I mean, if you have an at-home gym that actually makes sense for you, then right on. By all means, go and do it. And to be honest with you, if you're trying to live a good life and you don't have money for the gym, like, let's be real, it's time to find a new job. It's time to find some kind of work. It's time to do something. And I'm not meaning this in a unsympathetic way, because people struggle. But I mean, it goes to show you, where you're at. It's like a realistic way of thinking where, oh, if I can't afford a gym membership, but like, it helps me improve my life, well then, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, maybe it's time to start looking for something different or taking steps forward to actually improve it, rather than maybe floating around taking jobs here and there or whatever. So like, because your financial stress is not going to help you live your best life. And that's what this podcast is about. You got to get your finances straight if you want to live your best life. And, truth be told, if you can't afford a gym membership, like, I'm assuming your mental health isn't doing that well. So it's a good test of where you're at. So then that way you know where you're going or where you need to go. And again, everybody has their own struggles. Yes, I'm knocking those, but doesn't mean that we can't improve. Same goes for me. Supplemental to gym training, as in working out at home, it can help, but when you're building a plan, you don't want to have a mix of at-home workouts and gym workouts. Like, as productive as possible, as efficient as possible. If you have a gym membership, stick to gym workouts, not home workouts. If you have actual decent at-home equipment, like that kind of mimics a gym, and you can make the time to kind of like, oh, if I can get in a workout at home, I'll do it. And then at the gym, then that's great. But doing both, like at-home HIIT workouts and then gym workouts and this, that, that's not where it's at. Keep it stupid simple. Stick with one, run with it. There's no need to change it if it works. An effective gym workout routine starts with the goal. You need to know what you're working towards. And then you need a plan so then that way you can get what you're working towards. If you don't have a plan, you can't get to the destination. You need the roadmap. And if the roadmap's not there, it's going to make it very unmotivating. You're not going to be successful because you'll be winging it. And that's just how it works. But you need to also have structure to your routine. And this is another big thing I come across. People doing way too much. Like, you wonder why people can't be consistent with fitness. It is very simple. It's simply because they don't know how to manage their life. They don't know how to manage their schedule. They don't know how to manage their time. And sure, their life may be chaotic, but that also shows you where you're at in your life. Not a bad thing. Actually, it is a bad thing. I'm not saying it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but it just shows you a lot about who you are and what's going on and so on and so forth. And if you want structure, I think the biggest and best way to look at it is how much time can I absolutely and realistically make the time for? That's like lowest barrier to entry to work out at the gym. 2 times a week? Great. What days? What time? Write it down in a calendar. Set the goal. And don't deviate from it. It never works out if it's unrealistic. Meaning that you're like, oh, I can maybe go on Thursdays, so I'm just going to write it down anyways. No, cut the crap. You're not going to go Thursdays. It needs to be absolutely doable. Absolutely. Meaning that like, no matter what, no ifs, ands, or buts, like you can make it. You can get to the gym and work out. That's how you're going to be successful. But when you bring in a little bit of like, oh, if, maybe, but I, maybe could, blah, 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 it's not going to work. It needs to be a yes, not a maybe. And that's how you go about structuring your routine. And then you keep it the same. You don't change it, because it would be much better to work out 2 days a week, every single week, instead of like a stressful 3 here and there because you're trying to do a little bit more just because you feel like it. Enough of the, I'm just going to do it because I feel like it. That doesn't work. The best way to go about training for the best results in terms of, it depends on your goal. Like if you want to focus on purely just strength training because maybe you're a little bit more along the lines of a powerlifter, obviously you need to structure your workouts more around powerlifting. If it's more, body composition, such as building muscle, building strength as well, and also losing body fat, you need to strength train. You need to also do the stuff to build muscle. And you also need to do cardio, just like how you need to do cardio if you're a power lifter or even an Olympic lifter. You still have to work on that side of things. Otherwise, it will show up in your training and it won't help with results. And then when it comes to recovery, you need to also make sure that you have that written out as well. You should be doing some form of specific recovery work, as in mobility, at least a couple times a week, maybe once. And there's a lot of ways to make gym workouts go a lot smoother, such as instead of a super long drawn out warm up, which you don't need whatsoever, even just doing warm up sets for like your first lift of the day can get you really warmed up for that first exercise. For example, if I was doing barbell back squats today, 3 sets of 5, let's just say, if I did 3 to 4 warm-up sets to work up to the weight that I need to use that working weight for all of my sets, that's a lot of warming up. For my other exercises, I might need 1, maybe 2, but like that's it. Maybe none for some that you're lifting really light on. I see so many people go into the gym and they do these long drawn-out workouts that take 3 to 4 hours, and like you don't need that. You can get what you need done in about 45 minutes, but you just got to know the ways. So warm-ups don't got to take that long. Warm-up sets help you get warmed up really fast. If anything, 5 minutes of walking on the tread or maybe a couple dynamic exercises, and then that's literally all you need. That's literally all I do. I only work out 4 times a week at the gym. I consider myself like a higher performance level athlete in a sense, but I call myself like a lazy athlete, let's just say. Who likes to call himself an athlete? Looks like one, but looks like a bodybuilder, likes the aesthetics and is lazy sometimes. You don't need to do a lot of warming up. Here's a note for mobility. I see so many people wasting their time with mobility, like so much mobility. It's stupid. If you don't have aches and pains, stop doing it. Only do the mobility where you have aches and pains to save the most time. I mean, sure, a little bit extra here and there doesn't hurt and it helps, but that's really all you need if you think about it. Now, progressive overload, one of the best topics I've ever come across. and have overdone many times. Progressive overload can be easily overdone, especially if you're just trying to load a lift by 5 to 2.5 pounds every single week. Um, I think one of the best ways to go about progressive overload is training in blocks, as in like you have a specific number of weeks that you're training for and you're trying to progressive overload for, let's just say 4 weeks. And then you take a recovery week every fifth week where you maybe work out at about 50% effort levels, you minimize some of your working sets, you drop the weights down to 50% effort levels. Let's just say RPE 7. If you know what that is, you can search it up. If you don't know what it is, and let's just say you use weights for like RPE 5 to 6 for your working sets. For most exercises, you're taking it pretty easy. Your workouts are a lot shorter. That way you're still training, but it's a lot easier. It doesn't knock you out of the flow, but it takes a little effort. So then that way you can get into another 4 weeks of progressive training that's a lot harder. Starting at lower effort levels in the first week that are a little bit more than the recovery week, and then building yourself up to higher effort levels. Let's just say RPE 9 or so, that last like 4th week. That way you're never really overdoing it, but you're still building progress, which will help your body stay safe. And what I see all the time is, and the biggest mistake I have ever made is training at full blown out intensity every single session, burning myself out, burning my mental out. And when it comes to performance, there is a right way to manage it, especially when it comes to weight training, which also makes it a lot more fun, especially when you're working with a coach, because it's all managed for you. And then you start to see and you get excited about little things and tweaks and numbers and this, that, and it just makes it a lot better. Make sure you fucking rest, bro. Like, stop working out so much. You don't need to. You're not Superman. You don't need to become Batman and train every single day. Like, you need to relax and give yourself time to rest. I only work out 4 days a week at the gym. That is all. And if you take a look at my physique, it's pretty nice. Like, it doesn't take a lot. It's quality over quantity. And again, a lot of the time when people lack results, it's because of how they're training. So, to wrap this up, because I don't want this to take forever, the life-changing benefits of a gym routine. Mental transformation. You're in a new environment. You get to meet people, see people, train. It's motivating. It's inspiring. It helps you manage your own time, because now you have this other commitment in your life, and people have a hard time committing to things apparently because it's 2025 and it's just how it is. Also, it's a true test of your finances. If your finances aren't straight, guess what? That directly reflects who you are. Just saying. Because your finances are your own, just like your health is your own. Number 2, physical transformation. It's going to help so much more, because you can't really get all that you need in a gym, like in an at-home gym, like unless you're rich. It builds mental resilience, because when you put all these things together, like, it takes mental resilience to build a routine, stick to a routine, make the time to go. You have to manage your time better. You have to manage your finances better. You have to, all this stuff, but it helps you build to your life. And the problem that I see is so many people get scared of these things, but you have to think about the benefits of being able to do this stuff. That's what creates happiness and confidence in your life. But these are like basic life skills that like people need to have down. It helps you relieve stress. It's a different environment. You get to get out and go do something for yourself. And I think that there's a little bit more to say in that, with like how to make it more fun and enjoyable. But a lot of that starts with like knowing the plan, understanding what to do, this, and planning it out. So I'm calling for you to take some action, commit to a better you. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm also talking to me always. But you need to have a clear plan. You need to show up consistently. And you need to figure out what the fuck you're going to do for workouts. Because your at-home shitty workouts are not going to do it. And again, I'm not knocking home workouts, but I want to give you guys the facts and the truth about the decisions that you make in your life when it comes to health and fitness. If you're not aware about the outcomes of your decisions, especially with the plans that you choose or the plans that you set for yourself or the goals that you create for yourself, or how you're going to go about those goals, aka choosing home workouts over gym workouts, whatever it may be, then that will drastically affect the outcome that you're going to get. And, that outcome is everything. And I want to make sure that you guys make the best decisions to get the best outcome, so then that way you guys can live your best life. All right. That's all I'm here for. So if you got value from this, make sure to love the podcast. That did not make sense. Make sure to like the podcast. Make sure to follow, show some love. And I appreciate you guys so much. So thank you. I'll be dropping these every single Thursday morning. Stay tuned. I'm posting on my podcast page on Instagram at Untamed Podcast, I think it's called. But make sure to follow that as well too, just for like little highlights here and there. Make sure to follow my normal social media accounts, Nick Wild Aesthetics on everything. And then my coaching one as well that I'm trying to start posting again on, which is Wild Aesthetics Fitness on TikTok and Instagram. Got lots of accounts. Make sure to follow all of them. And yeah, that's it, guys. Much love and peace out.